The rain hammered the rooftop like 1,000 accusations, each drop stinging my skin as I teetered on the edge, the Chicago skyline mocking me with its indifferent glitter. "You were never enough." Alex's last text burned in my pocket, a digital knife twisting deeper than any blade could. I leaned forward, the void whispering promises of silence, when a hand, strong, unexpected, yanked me back into the storm. "My name is Gabriel, and that night, I wasn't just alone. I was unraveling. 32 years old, a graphic designer who'd clawed his way from a cramped Queens apartment to a fleeting taste of stability in the Windy City, only to watch it all dissolve in a haze of betrayal. Alex and I had built something real, or so I thought. 5 years of shared brunches in Wicker Park, late-night sketches over cheap wine, and promises whispered under the L tracks. He was the one who taught me it was okay to love fiercely as a gay man in a world that still side-eyed us. But 2 weeks ago, he'd packed his bags after I found the emails. A coworker in Milwaukee, weekend business trips, that reeked of cologne I didn't recognize. "It's not you, Gabe," he'd said, voice flat as the Midwest plains. "It's us. We're done." He'd left me the lease and the cat, Whiskers, who now stared at me from the empty apartment like I was the one who'd failed. I couldn't breathe in that place anymore. So I checked into the Palmer House, a grand old dame of a hotel in the Loop, with its marble lobbies and ghosts of jazz-age glamour. It was supposed to be a pit stop before I figured out how to disappear. Maybe crash with my sister in Seattle or just fade. But isolation has a way of amplifying the ache. That first night, I wandered the halls like a specter, nursing bourbon in the lobby bar until the edges blurred. By the third evening, the weight had crushed me. I slipped the rooftop key from the front desk unattended, perks of a slow shift, and climbed those fire stairs, each step a countdown. The pull of the edge was magnetic, the city below an indifferent sea of lights. Cars honked faintly, oblivious. I closed my eyes, tasting salt from tears mixing with rain, when that hand gripped my wrist. "Hey! Whoa, man, don't!" The voice was young, laced with panic and that unmistakable Midwestern warmth, like fresh bread from a corner bakery. I stumbled back, collapsing against the HVAC unit, gasping as the world spun. He was there in an instant, kneeling in the downpour, his hotel intern vest soaked through, name tag glinting. Sebastian. Early 20s, maybe, with tousled dark hair plastered to his forehead. Hazel eyes wide with a mix of terror and resolve. A busboy lanyard dangled from his neck. Forgotten. "Jesus, are you okay? I saw you from the alley. Thought you were just, I don't know, smoking or something. But then," he trailed off, hands still hovering like he might need to catch me again. I laughed, a bitter bark that echoed off the parapet. "Smoking? Yeah, right. Lighting myself up for the gods." My voice cracked, and suddenly the dam broke. Words tumbling out in a rush I'd held back for weeks. The betrayal, the empty bed, the way Alex's laugh used to fill rooms and now haunted them. Sebastian listened, rain sluicing down his face, not interrupting, not judging. When I finished, shivering and spent, he shrugged off his vest and draped it over my shoulders. "Come on," he said softly. "Let's get you dry. My shift's almost over." Down in the dim employee lounge, amid stacks of linens and vending machine hum, he brewed weak coffee from a pot that had seen better days. Sebastian was from Rockford, he told me as he handed over a mug. Small-town kid chasing art school dreams in the big city, interning at the Palmer to pay for paints and tuition. "It's grunt work," he admitted, wiping steam from his glasses. "Folding towels, dodging drunk conventioneers. But it beats flipping burgers back home." There was a quiet fire in him, a resilience that made my chest tighten. He didn't pry, but his presence, solid, unassuming, felt like the first real anchor in days. We talked until the coffee went cold. About everything and nothing. The Bears' hopeless season, the best deep dish spots. He swore by Lou Malnati's. The ache of loving someone who doesn't stay. "My folks don't get it," he confessed, staring at his hands. "The whole gay thing. Dad's a mechanic, Mom's at the library. They love me, but it's like I'm this puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit." I nodded, recognizing the script. My own coming out had been a battlefield. Mom in denial, Dad silent for months. But Sebastian's vulnerability cracked something in me, a sliver of light through the wreckage. By dawn, he'd walked me to my room, lingering in the hallway like he didn't want the night to end. "Get some sleep, Gabriel," he said, that half-smile tugging at his lips. "And hey, if you need anything, I'm on nights all week." I watched him go, the vest still warm around me, wondering if kindness like that could be real. It was. Over the next few days, Sebastian became my unofficial lifeline. He'd slip me extra scones from the continental breakfast, leave doodles on napkins, whimsical sketches of the hotel's gargoyles reimagined as superheroes. We'd meet in the lobby after his shifts, wandering Millennium Park under the bean, its mirrored curve reflecting our tentative laughs back at us. He showed me hidden gems, a speakeasy jazz club in the basement of an old theater, where saxophones wailed like lost souls, the Art Institute's quiet wing of impressionists, where we'd sit cross-legged on the floor, debating Monet's light versus Hopper's loneliness. Falling for him was inevitable, a slow thaw after the freeze. His touch started innocent, a hand on my shoulder during a story, fingers brushing as we shared fries at a food truck. But there was depth there, layers peeled back in stolen moments. Sebastian dreamed big, murals for the city's underpasses, telling stories of queer kids like us through color and chaos. "I want to paint what hurts," he said one evening, as we watched the sunset bleed orange over Lake Michigan from Navy Pier. "Turn the pain into something beautiful." I envied that hope, that unscarred optimism. With him, I felt seen, not as the broken man Alex left, but as Gabriel, whole and wanting. Yet love in the margins is never simple. Whispers started in the hotel corridors. Sebastian's boss, Mr. Hargrove, the silver-haired manager with a perpetual scowl, eyeing our late-night chats. Fraternizing with guests, he'd mutter to the front desk clerk, loud enough to carry. Sebastian brushed it off. "Old-school prick, thinks we're all straight-laced like him." But I saw the tension in his jaw, the way he'd check his phone for schedule changes. The conflict ignited on a humid Friday, the kind where the air clings like regret. I'd surprised him with tickets to a rooftop film screening in Pilsen, Brokeback Mountain, ironic and fitting. We sat shoulder to shoulder on a blanket, the screen flickering tales of forbidden love against the night sky. His hand found mine midway through, fingers interlacing with a quiet certainty that made my heart stutter. "This," he whispered, "this is what I want. No hiding." I squeezed back, the words I'd longed to hear from someone, anyone, after Alex's ghosts. But betrayal wears many faces. As the credits rolled, my phone buzzed. A photo from an unknown number. Sebastian laughing with a guy in a dive bar last month. Arms slung casual, too close. The caption, "He's playing you, Gabe." Just like the last one. My stomach dropped. It was from a mutual friend of Alex's, the venom clear. I confronted Sebastian in the alley behind the venue, voice shaking. "Who's this? Some hookup you forgot to mention?" His face crumpled, rain from an earlier sprinkle still drying on his cheeks. "Gabe, no, that's my cousin, from a family reunion. I swear." But doubt is a thief stealing trust in the shadows. I pulled away, the hurt too fresh, Alex's echo too loud. "I can't do this again. Not the lies." He reached for me, eyes pleading, "Please believe me." But I fled into the night, hailing a cab back to the Palmer, the city lights smearing into accusations. The next day, isolation clawed back, fiercer. I avoided the lobby, holed up with room service and regrets. But Sebastian didn't let go. That evening, a knock, insistent, raw. He stood there, soaked from a sudden squall, holding a manila envelope. "Read this," he said, voice hoarse. Inside, printouts from his family reunion Facebook album, timestamps, tags. Proof irrefutable. "I get it," he continued, stepping inside when I didn't slam the door. "After what your ex did. Trust is a motherfucker. But I'm not him, Gabe. I'm scared too. Of losing this before it starts." We talked until the storm outside mirrored the one within. He admitted his fears. The internship hanging by a thread, Hargrove's threats to cut hours if he distracted guests. "They almost fired me that first night, for chasing you up there. Said it was against policy." And deeper, his own betrayal, a high school boyfriend who'd outed him to the town after they split, forcing Sebastian to flee Rockford at 18. I built walls, he said, tears carving paths down his face. But you make me want to tear them down. The climax crashed that same night. Hargrove, tipped off by the jealous friend who'd sent the photo, a twisted web Alex had spun even in absence, cornered us in the lobby. This ends now, he barked, jabbing a finger at Sebastian. Pack your things. You're done here, consorting like some deviant. The word landed like a slap, echoing the slurs we'd both endured. Guests turned, whispers rippling like aftershocks. Sebastian froze, color draining, but I stepped forward, fury igniting. He's the best damn employee you've got, I shouted, voice carrying through the crystal chandeliers. And if you fire him for being human, for caring, then you're the one who's obsolete. Chaos erupted. Sebastian's co-workers, quiet allies who'd seen his kindness, murmured support. A guest, an older queer couple on their anniversary, chimed in, "Boy's got heart. We need more like him." Hargrove blustered, red-faced, but the tide turned. By morning, after calls to corporate and a viral thread on the hotel's Yelp page, I may have posted, Sebastian kept his job. Hargrove slunk off to review policies. In the aftermath, we rebuilt, brick by fragile brick. No grand gestures, just mornings with whiskers curling between us on my couch, evenings sketching dreams over takeout. Sebastian's murals bloomed on abandoned walls, tales of resilience in vibrant strokes. I finished a portfolio that landed me freelance gigs, reclaiming the art Alex had belittled. Love, we learned, isn't absence of betrayal. It's choosing to stay through the storm. A year later, on that same rooftop, dry this time, stars sharp as hope, we exchanged rings, simple bands etched with a single word. Enough. Not perfect, not without scars, but human. In America's vast, flawed heart, we'd found our corner of grace. And in each other, the strength to believe we deserved it.